Hey guys, it's Kristen and we're talking more Gilmore Girls. This is a revival of the original series. There are 4 episodes, winter, spring, summer, and fall. They're 90 minutes long. I already have a review up of winter if you want to check it out. And today I'm going to be talking about spring. Let's get into it. Lorelai and Emily are going to therapy. Funny enough, the therapist is played by Kerry Butler, who's a big Broadway actress, and that comes more into play in the next episode, Summer, so I'll save that for then. But at therapy, Emily ends up deciding she doesn't want to continue anymore. She quits. This happens after a big blow up, but we do get a touching moment from Lorelai talking about what it was like learning that her dad was dying. Emily invites Luke over and reveals that Richard actually put money aside for him in his will because he wants him to start up a whole empire, a whole franchise of Luke's diners, and Luke is not really so sure about that. But Emily is really gung-ho about it and wants to help set him up with some stuff to just make this happen. And Rory and Paris go back to Chilton for Alumni Day. That was really cool to get to see them go back to their school and to really get to see Paris be Paris. You know, their dynamic, their friendship, their relationship is so funny because they're so different. It's just so funny because Paris is a little crazy, but she's so relatable and funny that you just love her anyway. What was interesting to me though about this part of the episode was that I was a little bit mixed on it. I loved seeing Paris and I thought she was great. But there was 2 things that stood out to me as being a little bit weird. One was that the headmaster offered Rory coffee in his office and she declined it. Are you kidding me? That does not seem like the Rory Gilmore I know. I thought that was kind of weird that she was like, nah, I'm good. You don't want coffee? Aren't you a Gilmore? Who are you? I mean, it was a very minor, small thing, but I was like, wait a minute. And then the other thing was Tristan. You know, I feel like, what was Chad Michael Murray doing that he couldn't come and do a small little guest appearance on Gilmore Girls? You know, Chad Michael Murray, well, where are you? Why weren't you there? So they had a body double and they kind of panned to him for a minute and then moved away. But it was just clearly not Chad Michael Murray, so it was super weird to see it. And I think what they should have done if they couldn't get Chad was to just mention Tristan and not show him, you know, because it just kind of took away from it a little bit that it was this guy who was clearly not Chad Michael Murray. But, you know, what's done is done. So moving on, Rory's still trying to get that interview with Condé Nast, and in the meantime, she's being pursued by Sandy Martin, the owner of the website Sandy Says. They want her to write for them, and she's kind of like, this is not really what I want to do. But it's flattering, you know, that they're really pursuing her. And what I thought was awesome was Sandy Martin is played by a Bunheads alum. We got Julia Goldani-Tells to come in as Sandy, and I love that there's that connection with Gilmore Girls and Bunheads. You know, obviously it's by the same people, but it was cool that they brought a bunch of those girls back, and in the next few episodes there's other girls from Bunheads that appear on the show, and I just thought that was so cool and I loved it. Rory's book ends up getting canceled, so she goes to an interview with GQ and they have this idea for an article about people that wait in lines. So she goes and she waits in lines with her mom in New York City to kind of get interviews from different people. Mae Whitman, who plays Lauren Graham's daughter in Parenthood, actually makes an appearance in this episode as one of the people they talk to when they wait in line. So that was really fun to see that connection. Then Rory has this whole breakdown. She ends up sleeping with one of the guys dressed as a Wookiee from the line that she was standing in. It was like a line for geeky stuff, and they went out and she had a one-night stand. She starts blabbing to her mom about, you know, this affair that she's having with Logan, who's engaged, so that's horrible. She's just kind of freaking out because she thinks her life is a big mess, and her mom's like, well, what about this Sandy Says? Go check out, you know, Sandy Says and maybe get a job there. They like you so much. So she goes and she meets with Sandy and it doesn't go well, and just everything's going downhill for Rory. Eventually there's just too much going on and like too much craziness in her life, and she doesn't have anywhere to stay. She doesn't have the job she wants. She doesn't have the guy she wants. So she moves back home with her mom and Luke. I would love to know what you think about where everyone is now. Make sure to leave a comment below. I'll have links to all the reviews that I'm doing for Gilmore Girls up, so make sure to check those out. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and click that subscribe button because I come out with new videos every week. See ya!